National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. Is this a forgotten comedy classic, or is it a movie that is better left forgotten? In my opinion, I believe it is a forgotten comedy classic, and I want to tell you why. First of all, my name is Eric Wilfred Watson. I'm the author of Judas Kissed and Becoming Quincy, action thriller novels that you can purchase on Amazon.com. Your support of this channel is appreciated, and your purchase of these books helps me make more videos. One of the things that stands out about this movie is its cast. A lot of actors, aside from actors that are known specifically as comedic actors, tend to avoid comedy movies. This movie has some comedic actors to be sure, but it also has some A-list actors that are surprising to see in a movie like this. The movie stars Emilio Estevez, who isn't quite as famous today as he was back then, but in the early 1990s he was coming off movies like Young Guns and other classics that cemented him as a household name. And of course he had a famous brother named Charlie Sheen, his father was Martin Sheen, so Emilio Estevez was definitely an A-list actor, and to have him starring in a slapstick comedy movie was quite notable. The movie also stars Tim Curry. It also stars Kathy Ireland, who at the time was a famous fashion model. The movie has Dennis Leary, who is a famous comedian turned actor. It has John Lovitz of SNL fame. The movie has William Shatner, who of course is known for Captain Kirk, as well as T.J. Hooker. The movie stars none other than Samuel L. Jackson. Now, if there is a guy who is a movie star, it's Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson. The movie has Whoopi Goldberg, who is coming off of an Oscar win 2 years earlier. The movie has a cameo from Bruce Willis, who is famous from the Die Hard movies. You can also see Frank McRae, Jimmy Doohan.
Hey, can you get this machine to work? I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
And the late, great Phil Hartman. As far as on-camera talent for a movie of this era, you really can't get better than that. Unfortunately, behind the camera, that wasn't quite the case. The director of the movie was a man named Gene Quintano, who is better known as a writer. He's not exactly a household name. He only has 5 directing credits according to IMDb, including this film, and his writing credits aren't much more notable. He did contribute towards a few of the Police Academy sequels. He did write Sudden Death starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he's hardly a prolific Hollywood writer. He's not exactly a well-known name today. But he did make this movie, and I love this movie. I just think it might have been better served by a more talented director. The movie is a parody, and parody movies aren't really so popular anymore. This is one of the last great ones. Movies like Airplane, The Naked Gun, Hot Shots, Scary Movie, those movies were quite popular in the 80s and 90s, and this movie slid right in amongst them and may have been overlooked because it was overshadowed by, in my opinion, better parody movies, but that doesn't make this a bad movie. I think it's quite good. It primarily parodies Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3, cop dramas more generally, and touches on other films like Basic Instinct and Silence of the Lambs, and more. Part of the problem, and I think one of the reasons this movie is not as well remembered as it could be, is because after the popularity of parody movies, Hollywood decided that they wanted to make money, so they cranked out a ton of low-quality, unfunny, parody movies that went straight to DVD and then later straight to streaming, and it soured people on the genre. Similarly, the National Lampoon moniker that this movie carries used to have weight behind it. National Lampoon started as a comedy magazine, then they started making movies like Animal House, the Vacation movies starring Chevy Chase. Later they would make Van Wilder, which probably was the last great National Lampoon movie, which launched the career of Ryan Reynolds. This movie carries the National Lampoon name as well, but after this, National Lampoon started to release schlock, absolute garbage movies that no one watched. The National Lampoon name has soured many people on rewatching this movie. When you see National Lampoon, you don't think the good movies like Animal House, Van Wilder, or the Vacation movies. You usually think about the things that clog streaming services, and back when they had video stores, you'd see those movies on the shelves, and they were all terrible. But that shouldn't sour your opinion on this movie. This movie does a really good job of presenting the slapstick comedy. The acting is done well because, as I mentioned earlier, it has very talented people. The gags work largely because of the unflinching delivery of the actors. Even the dumbest jokes still seem funny because of who's presenting them to you. The movie makes fun of cop movies, it makes fun of macho action movies in general and the gun violence portrayed in action movies. The two main characters are even named after guns, Sergeant Colt and Sergeant Luger, although they actually use the Beretta and Smith & Wesson guns used in the Lethal Weapon movies. And of course you get the parody of Did I Fire 5 Shots or Only 6? You get parodies of the famous cross-leg sequence in Basic Instinct. You get a parody of the Hannibal Lecter in his glass cage in Silence of the Lambs, but it's not just the fact that it's copying other movies as a parody that makes it funny. The framework of a cop drama is just something to hang jokes on, and it largely works. Not all the jokes are funny, but I think more of them are funny than aren't funny. So I would say if you have any love for a comedy movie like Mel Brooks used to make with Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs, or if you like the old Abrahams Zucker movies like Airplane, The Naked Gun, and movies like Hot Shots, or even more recently, movies like Walk Hard, I think you will enjoy this movie. I'm a big advocate of the dumb comedy because I actually think you have to have some smarts to make a movie that's dumb on purpose that actually works. This is sort of a lost genre. They don't make many movies like this anymore, although there may be a resurgence. I've read recently online that they will be making a new Naked Gun movie starring Liam Neeson. There is a Spaceballs 2 officially in the works. And you know what? I also noticed that there is a Lethal Weapon 5 in the works, starring Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So, with that, it seems like a great time to watch a parody of those movies. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is this an overlooked comedy classic, something that should be brought back, or is it something better left forgotten? Thank you very much for watching.